So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please let us know if you can hear and see us so that we know that everything is okay.
You can type in the chat, just say whatever.
Can you hear us? Can you see us? Yes. We just
You can't see me. What the hell? Why not?
And now? Yes. Good.
Good. Can you hear me too? We both. Okay, fabulous. That's great.
My name is Anastasia Kopseva, and today with my colleague Yana Rozehnalova, we would like to welcome you to our webinar with a really very interesting topic, and I think it is very important topic. And microbiome, the gut is our second brain. Did you know that bacteria affect our taste? Or did you know that 90% of serotonin is produced in the gut? Or did you know that from 70 to 80% of immunity is formed in the gut? And did you know that the microbiota has its own age? And did you know that you can find out the state of your microbiota? So this and much more you will learn in today's webinar. We welcome you. Let's start.
Very well. So first of all, thank you all for coming. It's a great pleasure to have you here today. And before we start, I thought I would just introduce some basic concepts so that we orient ourselves in this topic. So first of all, let us distinguish between the terms microbiome and microbiota, because we're going to be referring to the two of them today. So microbiome refers to all microorganisms that are found in the body and on the surface of the body and the collective genome of all these bacteria. We're talking about bacteria, viruses, fungi, yeast, all these microorganisms that can be on or within the body. Microbiota, on the other hand, refers to bacteria, fungi, viruses, or yeast that are within a specific location. So in this case, and today we're going to be talking mainly about intestinal microbiota and intestinal microbiome. Okay, so that is our primary focus, but of course it's not the only microbiome that we do have. We have lots of living organisms inside and on the surface of our body. Just to give you an example, we have oral microbiome, pulmonary microbiome, vaginal one, intestinal microbiome, skin microbiome, and there is a communication between all of these, okay, on everyday basis. So our microbiome is collectively connected and communicates with one another. Now we're going to be talking a lot about the disruption of the microbiota in the intestine in particularly. So that is referred to as the dysbiosis. So something that is not functioning quite right within the intestine, we talk about dysbiosis of the intestinal microbiota. And we're going to be talking about probiotics and prebiotics. Now, there is a difference between the two, and it's important that we understand it. So probiotics are all microorganisms that support our health. Those are the healthy bacteria that we all need in our body. They are producers of essential metabolites that our body cannot live without, and it cannot produce it on its own. So we need our intestinal microbiome to produce our intestinal bacteria to produce these metabolites for us. So probiotics is a term that we use for all these helpful bacteria. Prebiotics, on the other hand, is a term that we use for essentially the food for the bacteria, because one thing is putting healthy bacteria in our gut, but another thing is actually feeding them. If we don't feed them, they're just going to die. So just like we need to eat, our bacteria needs to eat as well. It feeds mainly the best food for our intestinal bacteria is prebiotic fiber or soluble fiber. So that supports the growth and multiplication of probiotic bacteria. So prebiotic, in simple terms, is food for our bacteria, and it's mainly soluble fiber. Moving on then, hopefully that's all clear.
And I would like to add also that nowadays it seems to be like a fashion trend to take care of our gut, but actually our ancestors knew thousands of years ago that our health is hidden in our gut. And Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, said that all human health problems begin in the gut. Actually, he said that death begins in the gut. So let's have a look on this topic more closely. Gut microbiota. We have more bacteria in our body than our own cells. There are more than 1,000 species of bacteria in the intestine. And based on the microbiome, a person can be identified similar to using a fingerprint, and perhaps in the future it will be possible to identify a person according to its microbiome test. And each person has a unique composition of the gut microbiome, and it varies from 80 to 90%. And actually, I would like to add that we are very unique, and we have our microbiota is so unique, and it varies with the age and with our health status, whether we are stressed or whether we have a good diet, whether we get enough sleep and or exercise, and so on. So, as Jana has mentioned, microbiome is the sum of many trillions of microorganisms that live in our body, and there are about 2 kilos of bacteria in our body. But not only the quantity, but also the variety of these bacteria is crucial for our health. So that is very important to know. Why should we know in which state is our microbiota?
Very good. So here you can see a picture of an ideally looking intestine. Sadly, it's not the case in majority of population, but let me just explain what you can see here. In ideal circumstances, the purple thing in here, and I'm not sure if you can see my mouse, but hopefully you can. So the purple thing in here are the cells of the intestinal membrane, okay? And you can see that they are nice and sealed, nice, intact, no disruption in there. That is how it's supposed to look like, okay? Then on the top of the cells is a protective slime. And here are pathogenic bacteria that are inside the intestine, okay? So this is the intestine and it's inside the intestine. As the membranes are nice and sealed and there is the protective slime, all these pathological bacteria or any kind of bacteria, fungi, viruses, all these kind of things, all the pathogens stay inside the intestine and they are dealt with in an appropriate way, okay? Sadly, it's not always the case. In fact, it is estimated that up to 90% of population worldwide suffers with at least a certain level of intestinal permeability. We're going to talk about it in a little bit more detail shortly, but essentially what it means that the food that we eat, the polluted environment that we live in, great amount of stress, lack of sleep, lack of physical activity, lack of fresh air, lack of nutrients, they disrupt the intestinal membrane. And that means that it's not nice and sealed, it's not intact, and the pathogens from the intestine are essentially leaking into the bloodstream. Now, blood obviously circulates all around the body, which means that we've got inflammation spreading all around the body. But in ideal circumstances, this is how our intestine should look like, okay? Another thing that is very important for the healthy functioning of the intestine is that what happens in the intestine is absorption of vitamins, minerals, or macronutrients and micronutrients. Okay, macronutrients are broken down, micronutrients are being absorbed. If the gut is not intact, if it doesn't look like this, then the absorption of all the vitamins and minerals is disturbed, which means that if people are taking supplementation like vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin C, whatever, all that they are doing is that they're buying an expensive pee, because all these vitamins and minerals cannot literally be absorbed if the intestine is not functioning properly. So we're going to be talking about this in more details, but this is in a nutshell, okay, how it is supposed to look like.
Yes. What do our intestinal bacteria produce? Bacteria produce vitamins and minerals, for example, vitamin K, B12, or folic acid. 19% of serotonin, which is considered as the happiness hormone, is produced also in our gut. Amino acids with a short chain acetic acid, propionic acid, and butyric acid.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about butyrate because that is of crucial importance in relation to the healthy functioning intestine. Okay, so what is butyrate? Butyrate is a salt of butyric acid, and it should be naturally present in the intestines. It's actually one of the essential metabolites that our intestinal bacteria produce. Sadly, it is only some bacterial strains that actually produce butyrate. So if there is a dysbiosis in the gut, and if if our intestines do not actually contain the bacterial strains that produce the butyrate, then our intestinal membrane cannot be protected, because what the butyrate actually does, it essentially acts as a glue for the intestinal membrane. So it prevents it from damaging, and it seals any existing damages that might be there. So it is the constant presence of butyrate is important because it continuously protects the intestinal membrane from any kind of dysbiosis, any kind of disruption, which is continuous because, again, of the food that we eat, because the food is not ideal. It's sprayed with pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, all these kind of things, and they are actually affecting the integrity of the intestinal membrane. So we need butyrate to be constantly and consistently protecting it. If we do not have the bacteria producing butyrate in there, that's what it leads to essential intestinal permeability and then chronic inflammation all around the body. Okay, so it also improves absorption of vitamins and minerals, as I already mentioned, and improves the effectiveness of insulin. So that's how crucial butyrate really is. Okay, so if we do not have it, we're essentially in trouble.
Yes. What influences the gut microbiome? Well, first of all, I must say that the type of delivery. If the child was born naturally, vaginally, or by cesarean section, then diet, lots of processed foods these days. Unfortunately, we do not have food that contain the necessary amount of fiber or vitamins and minerals. And for example, our ancestors consumed about 100 grams of fiber per day. And today, according to the standards, we should have about 30 grams. But to be honest, it is unfortunately around 10 grams. So fiber, as we have mentioned, is a food for our friendly bacteria, and if we do not have it, our friendly bacteria die out. A lot of salt. It is also not good for our gut microbiome. A lot of stress. We have chronic stress, and it kills our bacteria and disrupts gut balance. And there are some studies that have shown that permanent stress can change our friendly bacteria into pathogenic bacteria. So it is really very important to deal or to get rid of this chronic stress. And of course, a lack of sleep. If we do not have a quality sleep, it is also very bad for our friendly bacteria. And alcohol. But I must say that mostly it is about hard alcohol, but a glass of wine, especially red wine, is really good for our friendly bacteria because red wine contains polyphenols, and our bacteria like it a lot. So, and what else?
There is other few things that actually influence the intestinal microbiome. One of them being infection and poor hygiene, but actually it's also too much of a hygiene. All the chemicals that we use for cleaning, chemicals that are in shampoos, in soaps and all these kind of things, they are actually damaging our intestinal microbiome. Essentially, guys, we are too clean. Okay, and if we look at, again, if we look at the way our ancestors used to live, then we have a clue why too much of a cleanliness might actually be causing an issue. Another thing that is interesting to observe is young children. When kids are born, when they, I don't know, when they become toddlers or whatever, what do? If you give them food, they're not going to put it in their mouth. First thing that they do, they're going to put it and rub it on the carpet. They just want to pick up some germs, okay? And then only then they're going to put it in their mouth. Or they just go out and eat sand. Why on earth is my 1.5-year-old eating sand? I don't know. But my guess is that she knows what's good for her, okay? So we actually need to pick up some germs in order to develop healthy microbiome in our intestines. And if we're overly clean, then we're literally preventing this from happening, okay? The same goes with too frequent showers, actually. I'm not trying to suggest that you shouldn't shower yourself and just stink like a pig, but but actually too frequent showers, again, you're washing off the microbiome of your skin, which is essential and is protective. So there is, there is a meaning behind all this. Another thing that damages the intestinal microbiome is alcohol, excessive alcohol, as Anastasia already talked about it. And then lastly, unfortunately, medications. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against medication. I'm not against antibiotics. It can save lives and all that. It's brilliant. But what is happening nowadays that we're over medicalizing people. Okay, you come to your GP, you say you've got a headache, and they go, oh, here's some Calpol, take some, ibuprofen. Oh, how about an antidepressant? Oh, here is a sleeping aid. Okay, and we're giving out medication like candies without actually assessing the root cause of the problem. Now, that too contributes to the disruption of the intestinal membrane, and that too causes more issues.
Yes. And I would like to add that actually we need to have a balance. We need both of them. We need bad bacteria and good bacteria. But now what we should know that we need to have this balance between them. And therefore, it is very important to pay attention to any kind of prevention, because I believe it is always better to prevent some health problems than to solve an existing ones. How we got the microbiome? First of all, during the childbirth, if a child was born by vaginal way or by cesarean section, and it is the first, I would say it is the first cocktail when a child gets his or her first bacteria, and that is why really important to be born by a vaginal way. But Jana, could you say us what can be done if a child is born by a cesarean section?
Well, only some enlightened doctors, they're aware of the importance of of the microbiome in the vaginal canal during the childbirth. So some doctors, not a lot, what they do is that when the child is born through C-section, they swab the vaginal canal, the birth canal, and literally spread the bacteria from the birth canal all over the baby so that they can actually get the protection that they didn't get because they weren't born through the natural ways. But unfortunately, it's not a standard practice. It should be, in my opinion, but it's not.
Yes.
So moving on, why is it then so important, or why for the child sort of immunity that they are born through a natural way, if possible? Of course, we're not saying that we should risk lives if it's not possible, but if possible at all, then I would always encourage the mom to go through natural delivery. And that is because during the third trimester, the mother's vaginal microbiome begins to adjust. The prevailing genera that are forming in the birth canal are Lactobacilli and Prevotella. Those are main bacterial strains that contribute to formation of immunity. So it is essentially the child's first immunity because they've got basically nothing when they're born. Okay, so it is the child's first immunity that they get through the birth canal. That's why it is so important. And of course, the last few weeks before the childbirth, they have major impact on the vaginal microbiome. So it's also important that the mother is calm, is not stressed out, eats well, and all these kind of things, so that the supportive microbiome can actually be formed in the vaginal microbiome. Okay, so that's the reason why mothers are always encouraged to calm down, relax, and be prepared for the labor and do mindfulness, breathing, and all these kind of things. Okay, not only because it will help during the delivery, but it actually helps to protect the baby long term.
Yes, so vaginal birth and breastfeeding is the best combination to start our immunity. After the birth, actually, well, after the birth, we have the most amount or the higher amount of bifidobacteria, and their number decreases with the age. That is why they are called as young bacteria. And bifidobacteria play a very important role in our body because they regulate all pathogens. And the supply of microbiota is stored in the small intestine. During the breastfeeding, the mother does not only supply the baby with milk, but also with useful bacteria. It is really important to know. That is why, if it is possible, always use this method. And breastfeeding as giving the baby lactose, oligosaccharides, and immunoglobulins. So it is very important to know.
Well, those are things that actually are food for the intestinal bacteria as well. So there is a reason for every single little thing that goes around natural birth.
Yes.
And here you can see the picture that I was referring to earlier. So the first one is when our intestine is in symbiosis. Okay, there's the protective slime. All the pathogens are kept nice, intact in the intestines where they're supposed to be, and the intestinal mucosa is nice and intact, no gaps in there. Okay, the second stage. And we did talk about what actually leads to it. Okay, so remember the food, stress, lack of sleep, medication, lack of fresh air, and lack of physical activity. All these things contribute to it. You can see here that the intestinal membrane begins to look disrupted. There is a slight gap in there, so the protective slime is already seriously disrupted, and the pathogens are starting to leak into the bloodstream. Okay, the final stage, the worst stage, is what we refer to as intestinal permeability or the leaky gut syndrome, where there is basically no protection at all anymore. The barrier is seriously stretched out, so the pathogens are getting into the bloodstream, causing inflammatory response all around the body, and autoimmune diseases, and all sorts of other serious problems. I think we've got a lovely video here for you to watch.
Yes,
So
we'll put it
we
on.
can just put that on as well.
Wait a second. I will find a really good video that I can show you. On this video, you can see how it works when we have good healthy gut, and then when it starts this process, when all these large molecules like food proteins, bacteria, and waste products enter through small holes and then enter the bloodstream. And then, unfortunately, begins the inflammation. And unfortunately, actually, it takes a really long time, and we do not discover at the early stage this inflammation. We do not feel any pain, and it's not visible. And most people only notice some symptoms. Usually, they don't hurt, so it becomes like a hidden killer. So that is why it's really important to know and to do a prevention. So let's go. The consequences of this process that we have shown you in this video is digestive disorders such as ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, food allergies, and celiac disease. Different kinds of allergies, skin problems, inflammations, autoimmune diseases, autism, depression, cancer, some types of cancer, of course, weakened immunity, and in women it is vaginosis, endometriosis, infertility, and miscarriages. And I always say that when a woman can't be pregnant and have some problems with this, so I always advise to start with the gut to find out if she has some kind of dysbiosis, so that it can help to solve this problem.
Very good. So one of the most problematic things that obviously are related to the leaky gut syndrome and to intestinal permeability is inflammatory bowel disease. So we've heard about Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. Those are the most common ones, common types of inflammatory bowel disease. Crohn's disease, it wasn't that common about 50 years ago, but it is becoming increasingly more prevalent. It is estimated that by 2030, it will be actually up to 80,000 patients who will suffer with Crohn's disease. I have to say that over the last year, I have met at least 6 people who reported to me that they had Crohn's disease, which I think is really quite alarming. Currently, we have about 70,000 patients, but what you will notice, and what I think is an important marker here to observe, is that the number has begun to rise since about 1950s, which is exactly the time around Industrial Revolution and around the time when we started heavily processing foods. So, you know, take the hint in here that it seems that it's all related. And again, the diet and the change in lifestyle had a major impact on our health. You can look at the health statistics and say it's great, you know, we're living till 70 or 80 years old or 90 years old even. But then at the same time, we're more sick than ever. Yeah, so we're not really living quality of life till 90 or something. We're more like surviving, and there's this clear indicator. So whilst Crohn's disease mostly affects younger generation between 20 and 30 years of age, it doesn't actually mean that somebody who is 50 cannot actually develop Crohn's disease. Okay, the cause currently is unknown, but it does require genetic predisposition. However, and that's an important thing, just because you're genetically predisposed to developing something, whether it's Crohn's disease or cancer or I don't know, depression, it doesn't actually mean that that thing is going to be developed, because our genes respond to an environment, and disease only happens when a gene is expressed. Okay, not just because it's there, but when it gets expressed. And how does a gene get expressed is through a stimuli coming from an external environment. So you may be a carrier of genetic polymorphisms that may predispose you to developing Crohn's disease, but those won't do anything until they're actually activated. And what can activate? There's a lot of debate about this. Okay, there's no straightforward answer. We've got loads of genes, thousands, and there is hundreds of genes that are implicated in Crohn's disease. But the hypothesis here is that perhaps the food that we eat, or perhaps the stress, or perhaps the lack of physical activity, those may activate expressions of the pathological genetic polymorphisms that contribute to Crohn's disease. An interesting fact here is that whilst an external stimuli can activate expression of a gene, it can also inhibit it. So essentially, you can switch genes on and off. It's not a straightforward answer. Okay, it's not like one gene can be switched on and one gene can be switched off and we are all sorted out. But there is an indication that perhaps something from the an external environment can turn those genes off. And I've read a paper specifically about butyrate, which we talked about earlier on, that butyrate does affect health through gene expression. It didn't give an awful lot of detail, because it will be complicated analysis, but it gives us a clue that something is going on in there with gene expression. Okay, so whilst Crohn's disease is becoming is not that common, is becoming more prevalent. What is very prevalent is irritable bowel syndrome. Okay, now important thing: irritable bowel syndrome is frequently a precursor of Crohn's disease, and Crohn's disease is very frequently a precursor of colorectal cancer. Okay, so you can again see a pattern. So my guess is that if we don't do something, and if we do not focus on prevention enough, then we're going to see more cancer patients than ever before in a few years' time.
Yes. Fecal transplantation. It is a very interesting also topic. It is a stool transplant or a fecal microbiota transplant. It is a transfer of a stool from a healthy person or healthy donor into the intestines of a diseased person via endoscopy or capsules. And it is a very highly effective treatment of Crohn's disease. Fecal bacterium prausnitzii reduced amount was found in patients with Crohn's disease, and we detect it at ProB1. Clostridium difficile, it is bacterial infection of the gut. It causes acute diarrhea. And in 2013, a study was published where fecal transplantation had almost 100% treatment effectiveness in treating Clostridium infections. So fecal transplantation is part of the treatment for Clostridium infections in some countries. But we will talk a little bit more about it a little bit later. And let's go.
Yep. Another very important thing and another increasingly common problem is the dysbiosis in the vaginal microbiome. And it is related to the dysbiosis in the intestinal microbiome. So another interesting fact, okay, we've observed increasingly more frequent occurrence of issues like endometriosis infertility or miscarriages. And yes, you can argue it's just a coincidence, and yes, you can argue it's just a sad truth. But my argument here is that, again, it is linked to some sort of dysbiosis in the gut. And if we can fix the dysbiosis in the gut, the chances are that we might be able to improve women's health as well overall. We might see less miscarriages. We might see less problems with infertility or erectile dysfunctions. We might see less cases of endometriosis, okay? Because for women, the vagina pH level is crucial, and the healthy environment in the vagina has to be acidic. Now, what contributes to the acidity of the vaginal microbiome is bacteria called lactobacilli. Now, if we do not have enough lactobacilli in the gut, then that is going to lead to the vaginal microbiome being too alkaline. And when it's too alkaline, then that the acidic environment, the protective barrier is disturbed, and it leads to all the issues with women's health. So that's another sort of fascinating thing. And another increasingly common issue that we observe in young women, okay, and in young couples, of course.
Yes.
But there is a better solution than fecal transplantation, okay? And we've got it right here.
Yes, customized probiotics or fecal transplantation. Here I would like to say that customized or individualized probiotics, it is a safer therapy option than fecal transplantation. Why? Because individualized probiotics, with the help of individualized probiotics, we provide a person with the bacteria that the person doesn't have. And that means that, for example, with a stool transplant, a person can receive something that doesn't suit him or her, and it can then cause some kind of depressions or some kind of health problems we do not know. And with the customized probiotics, it is not so, because we supply only safe and approved strains, and we supply only the bacteria that that person needs. It is really a convenient use in the form of capsules. You do the test and you use the individualized probiotics at home. It is really very convenient, very safe, and without any uh, consequences and problems for you.
One thing before I move into this, I would like to add actually to the individualized probiotics. What we have here, and that's what we do at Harmanello, and we are actually the first company in Europe, potentially in the world, but I'm not 100% sure about that, who does DNA sequential analysis on a sample of intestinal microbiome. So what is DNA sequential analysis? What do we do here? You can send a literally poop sample, okay, in the laboratories in the Czech Republic that you're going to see in a moment, and we're able to split the DNA of all the billions of bacteria in the gut and identify exactly the protein sequence of all the bases within the DNA. But not only that, we combine it with bioinformatics approach by which we're able to identify the expressed genes as well. So not only the potential genes and then the potential pathological polymorphisms that might be in your body, but also those that have been expressed. Now, what we are doing with the individualized peel is that we're essentially transcribing the microbiome. And whilst there is a lot that is unknown, and we're at the beginning of this, okay, I need to stress this might just be that stimuli from an external environment that might inhibit expression of some of the pathological genes. So we might be able to go that far. I'm not trying to by no means make any curative claims here, but I need you to understand this because it is of crucial importance. We are at the beginning of something potentially really, really huge. Okay, so whilst fecal transplantation might have great results, the problem with it is that we do not know much about the donor, and at the moment, the donors are not being assessed enough. So while they might have healthy microbiome in terms of, not having Crohn's disease, you don't know whether that person might be suffering with depression, or whether they might be predisposed to schizophrenia, or what all other health issues they might actually have that are being transplanted directly into you. So that is the problem with fecal transplantation at the moment, that we do not have a thorough assessment of the donors. Whereas if we are talking about transcription with individualized probiotics, we have much better control of what is actually going on inside the body, and what is going to be put in your body in order to restore the balance. Okay, so what we're focusing on is, or what we believe is the true solution and prevention, is obviously go down the probiotic route. Take probiotics, take prebiotics, of course, focus on eating balanced diet with enough fiber and all these kind of things. Get quality of sleep. Try to eliminate stress, and of course, if you can, supplement. We're going to tell you more about the supplementation that we offer in this company in just a moment.
Why is it said that the gut is our second brain? Well, the gut and its microbes and the brain are linked by a complex communication and regulatory system. Perhaps you have heard already about this gut-brain axis. Um, Even more surprising is that microbes can affect our brain function, our mood, our behavior um, um, via this gut brain axis. The gut and the brain are constantly communicating and influencing each other. And this means that what happens in our gut affect how the brain works and how we think and feel and behave. So it is amazing, and it is difficult to understand and realize and imagine, but it is so.
Indeed, and it is said that the gut-brain axis is bidirectional communication, which means that our bacteria, they communicate with our brain, but of course our brain communicates with the bacteria in the gut as well. And it's very logical, because if you have 2 kilos of something, okay, or 1.5 kilos, there's still debates about how much actually of bacteria we have in the gut. But if you have 1.5 kilos of something and there's billions of entities in there, then it's got a brain on its own and it functions on its own. Gut bacteria are producers of essential neurotransmitters. It is not just serotonin, but it's dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine. All these essential neurotransmitters are produced in our intestines. They are then metabolized in the brain, and they have an essential impact on the functioning of the central nervous system. They have an essential impact on our mental health and well-being. Okay, but of course, our bacteria is asking for certain things as well. So if you feel like, you know what, I really have to have a chocolate, that's not your brain telling you that. That's your bacteria telling you that, because they really want to eat those polyphenols. Okay. But then at the same time, your brain, the stress levels, we talked about it. Okay. How you feel, how you think, how you respond to external environment, that is affecting the composition of your microbiome. So that is a bidirectional communication between the gut and the brain, and that is why why the gut is called a second brain sometimes.
Yes. Um, the company Harmonello has its own laboratories that are located in Brno, in Czech Republic. And not only laboratories, Harmonella has its main office, research, development, and production, and everything is located in Brno. And I think that this gives the company unlimited opportunities and possibilities, and also a strong competitive advantage. And each member of Harmonella has this opportunity to see it for itself. And I had this honor, and it was a really very great experience for me. And I recommend to everyone to have this opportunity and possibility to visit it there and to see. It is really interesting. What do we produce?
What do we produce? So we've already mentioned that we're the first company in Europe, potentially in the world, that produces custom-made probiotics. We also have pre-made liquid dietary supplements or syrups, which we're going to be talking about in a moment. But the way it works is very, very simple. So you can just send your microbiome sample into the laboratories that you've just seen. They conduct analysis depending on the peel that you choose, and on the basis of the microbiome analysis, we are able to determine the current state of your microbiome and then produce a customized peel that will target the composition of the microbiome. After producing the individualized peel, the final product is delivered directly to you. It's all fresh without unnecessary storage. Everything comes straight to your home. So that's how simple it actually is.
Microbiome test. It is. I would say that it is a revolution in identifying our health problems, and I recommend everyone to do the basic microbiome test because it finds out whether the condition of our intestinal system is disturbed, and whether it is, we can do it in prevention way, and we can put it back to the balance. The test will look at the age of the gut microbiota. It compares the representation of selected groups of bacteria and assigns them to a specific age group. Ratio between bacterial strains like Bacteroidetes and Firmicutes. They show our predisposition to obesity, and it is also really good to know. And you have some problems with your weight. Then the representation of bacteria of the genus Lactobacillus and Bifidobacteria. We have already mentioned why they are important. We need both of them. Um, well, this microbiome test will show us the overall condition of our gut microbiome. Um, for example, I didn't know, but our microbiota can have the age. And for example, 5 years old girl can have the microbiota age as a 90 years old person. It is, well, it is amazing and really important to know. Also, fusobacteria. Um, these bacteria, they can be in our oral cavity, in our respiratory system, or even in the genital system in women. But do not, uh, we do not uh, we should not have them in our intestine. And it is also really important because if we do have them, they lead to the formation of different inflammations. So this is important to know, and it can be really uh, done in our microbiome test.
Yes, so here we are moving on to the individualized peels that we have on offer. So what you've just seen was the basic microbiome test. We do recommend really that anyone should take it just to assess the basic condition. But of course, the results that you get with the basic microbiome tests are limited. So anyone who has perhaps more serious issues or anyone who wants to take really, I would say, best care of their intestines and of their health, and they're really looking for prevention, they might want to go down the route of individualized peel. What does that mean? Is that not only that you will get an analysis of your intestinal microbiome, but you will also have handmade probiotics, prebiotics, and butyrate that are just for you, targeting the composition of your specific microbiome. So Harmonella Smart Probio is a peel for 6 months. It's the form that we use here is rather elementary. So the analysis is molecular biological analysis, which is more basic. We do not do DNA sequencing here, okay? But we do screen through all the healthy bacteria and a number of strains of pathological bacteria in the gut, not through all of them. This is a 6-month peel, so not through all of them, but we do find out enough. And the duration of the analysis and production of the peel is up to 6 weeks. Okay, so it's not something that you get delivered off Amazon tomorrow. Okay, so it's something to bear in mind always. The number of bacterial strains that are in this peel is up to 35 strains. I'm saying up to because it depends on the results that you get. Okay, what your body actually needs. The strength of the probiotics, 30 billion bacteria in a single dose. What you get with the peel is, like I said, you get probiotics, prebiotics, and butyrate. You have heard about all 3 of these already, okay, today. So you get essentially everything that the body needs to repair itself and to restore the balance. Having said that, according to literature, full transcription of intestinal microbiome takes between 9 to 12 months. So if you take a peel for 6 months, the chances are that the microbiome will not be fully transcribed. Okay, so it's something to bear in mind when you're making the decision which peel to go for. Okay.
And we have also Harmonella Probe 1. It is our best product to take care of our microbiota. This product has the duration of therapy for 12 months. In this product, we have a sequence analysis of the gut microbiome. Analysis and production time is up to 12 weeks. Number of bacterial strains is 50 bacterial strains. The power of the probiotic is 40 billion, and it is the highest possibility that is allowed by European Union. And also with this product, or in this product, you will get a probiotic package and a butyrate so that you can feed your friendly bacteria. And in what I wanted to add, that in this product you will get 2 microbiome tests. The first one at the beginning, and the first 6 months will be produced according to the first microbiome test, according to its result. And the second one will come in the 4th month, and according to the second one, the second part of this treatment will be produced according to the second one. So, and I think that this is the best possibility how you can get your disbalanced microbiome to a balanced state. And I can add that it is not only for people who have already some health problems, but also for people who want to have a prevention. So it is my opinion.
100%. So we've already gone through the process of how this works. One thing that we didn't mention, which is really important, that with every single test that you get, whether it's the basic microbiome test or whether it's the individualized peel, you always have to fill out a questionnaire. So that is a first thing. You will receive a link directly to your email upon ordering the individualized peel. So you complete that online. It just takes a few minutes, but without completed questionnaire, the analysis cannot commence, okay? Because the analysis is always, the sample is paired up with the questionnaire. So if you don't complete the questionnaire, the analysis will be delayed, which is a shame, of course. And then, as I mentioned, you just receive a sample collection kit with all the instructions. You collect a sample comfortably in your home, post it off to the labs where the analysis happens, and they produce the probiotic peel for you, which is then delivered directly to your home. So very simple process. Just always remember to complete the questionnaire.
And here I must point out that we have to follow the European regulations, and we can't claim, and we do not claim, that our products will cure diseases or have some healing effects. And please do not exceed the recommendation dosage. And these products are not for pregnant women and not for children under 3 years old. So let's have a look at our products that we have.
So we've just seen the individualized peel, which in my opinion is absolute Ferrari. But of course, not everybody has Crohn's disease or schizophrenia, so maybe not everybody needs an individualized peel. So for that, we also have a selection of pre-made supplements, which have been designed on the basis of 15 years of research. Okay, so it's not just a random thing. There is a lot of research that is behind all these pre-made supplements, but we do recommend these on the basis of person's anamnesis. So we can also work just with the information about the patient's current health status or person's health status. I don't like the word patients, man. It's kind of discriminatory, man. Okay, so the person's health issues, and on the basis of the health issues, we can make a recommendation on the basis of experience that we have with these products. So the basic one that we have here is Microbiome, which is a basic probiotic. Okay, so that's the healthy bacteria that we need in the gut. You can see that these are all in liquid form. It is to ensure fast absorption and high bioavailability of all the active ingredients, because in the liquid form it's much better absorbed by our body than some form of a capsule or a powder or anything like that. Okay, so it supports the normal state of the intestinal microbiota, encourages better and smoother bowel movement, increases stool frequency. But of course, it's not just about bowel movement, but you've heard about all the relationship with all the health and disease that probiotic actually has. So it can support mental health as well. It can improve sleep. It can improve stress levels. It can improve skin. So it's got a lot of impact. One important thing to mention here is that in these pre-made supplements, we use tyndallized form of probiotics, which essentially means that they are heat inactivated. They are not live probiotics, and there is a number of benefits of tyndallized probiotics. One of them being that they are much more likely to pass through the stomach acids undamaged. And at the moment when they get to the intestines, which is where they're supposed to be, they only activate when they're securely attached to the intestinal membrane. So if we have individuals with significant dysbiosis of the gut or even suffering with the leaky gut syndrome, there is no chance that the probiotic would leak into the bloodstream active and cause any issues. Okay, it only activates when it's securely attached to the intestinal membrane. So those are the major benefits of tyndallized probiotics. And they're also safe for extremely vulnerable patients like oncology patients. or people with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, which is those patients are normally not advised to take live probiotics unless, of course, they are handmade and individually produced for them specifically. So those are the main benefits of Harmonella Probiome. And let's move on to the next one.
Hormonal buffet. This syrup is also a probiotic, but it contains a lot of, well, I would say, mega doses of fiber. This syrup supports the multiplication of bifidobacteria, and we have mentioned already that they are very important for us. Do you remember that short video about the intestinal mucosa and its restoration? So this product, Bifi, is suitable for this, and it supplies our intestines with the necessary amount of bifidobacteria that can help to fix this problem. Um, this syrup is a wonderful helper for chronic constipations. It is really good in liver regeneration. It has amazing and very strong regenerative effects, not only for our intestine, but also for our skin. You can put it on the skin, or you can add it to a bath. So, and what does it contributes? Increased intake of phytobacteria, as we have mentioned, that they're really important. Our normal state of the intestinal microbiota improved, and easier bowel movements and increased stool frequency. So, and the last one,
This is
probiotic.
the last. This is the last probiotic before we move on to the prebiotic. So Harmonella Lacto is another probiotic supplement. As the name itself suggests, it's a supplement that is rich in lactobacilli. I did mention the importance of lactobacilli in building immune system, but also in fighting off any kind of vaginal infections. So we do both. Bifi and lacto are syrups that we would only recommend on the basis of the analysis of the intestinal microbiome, just on the basis of the basic test, okay, the basic microbiome test, where you would find out whether you actually are low in bifidobacteria or lactobacilli, because these syrups are actually very strong, and you will know that even the healthy bacteria, if they are overly abundant, they can cause issues. So what we don't want to be doing is putting in lactobacilli or bifidobacteria if we don't actually need it to cause an excess. Okay, so women who have issues with any kind of women's health, vaginal infections, or infertility or endometriosis, then we do have very good results with Harmonella Lacto. We also have very good results with individuals who suffer with allergies, frequent allergies or food intolerances. They tend to be also very low in lactobacilli. So I would also recommend a test and then potentially lacto for those individuals, and also people with chronic diarrhea, because often people who have diarrhea, they have bifidobacteria that are overly abundant, so we balance it out with lactobacilli. So that's about it, I think.
Yes, Harmonella Vitality. This product contains a unique combination of papain, bromelain, and protease enzymes. Enzymes support proper digestive processes, and there are substances that help to clean out our blood vessels. It contains also aloe vera, barbadensis miller, and aloe vera has a really great effect on our body. It is an effective antioxidant, and it helps to purify, detoxify the body. It supports the immune system and helps us greatly with tiredness, stress, and restlessness, and also contains vitamin C, and it helps to maintain of a normal function of the immune system. So, what does this product contribute to? Antioxidant supports natural defense, so supports our immune system. Cleansing and detoxification normalizes blood sugar levels, normalizes skin condition, normal function of the gut microbiome, and vitamin C contributes to a normal energy metabolism and normal function of a nervous system. So,
Moving on, here we've got Harmonella Life, which is another prebiotic supplement based on soluble fiber, so excellent food for our intestinal bacteria. But not just that, we have a number of other active ingredients like black goji, dragon fruit, or beta-glucan. And all those are rich in antioxidants. So the main thing that this syrup does is actually it's a vitamin bomb and it's an antioxidant bomb. So it contributes to essentially passive immunization, but it also normalizes all the processes in the body. So we can use it to normalize even blood pressure or levels of blood sugar. Individuals with high blood pressure tend to use it to lower it. Individuals with low blood pressure can use it to actually increase the blood pressure. It also is absolutely fantastic for women's health and for to normalize any kind of hormonal imbalances. So any kind of issues with premenstrual syndrome, heavy periods, strong periods, painful periods, or also menopause issues surrounding menopause, Harmonella Life is absolutely fantastic. It also supports sexual health, if you wish, in men. So it can be used to support erectile dysfunction problems because it increases the blood flow in the pelvic floor muscles. Having said that, I wouldn't recommend for women to use it during periods because it can actually contribute to stronger bleeding. So I always say use it around the cycle, but pause, stop during the period. So that's, I think, about it, about Harmonella Life. Absolutely super fantastic passive immunization and vitamin bomb in here.
yes, Hormonal Flexi. This product has or gives us a strong support for our musculoskeletal system, especially for the normal condition of our joints and bones. It supports the function of the intestinal tract and also the proper function of our heart, and of course for our rejuvenation. It is for our skin, hair, nails. So also this syrup contains collagen, MSM, chondroitin, and Boswellia serrata. I must mention that collagen deficiency is practically common in everyone over the age of 25 years old because since this age the body can no longer produce its own collagen. That is why it is important to supplement it with the food or with the supplements. Also, the substance MSM is a source of bioactive sulfur found naturally in fruits, vegetables, grains, and milk, and it is important for the regeneration of healthy tissue. And this substance is also good for our detoxification. And the last one is Boswellia serrata. In India, this plant is called an anti-inflammatory fighter, and it has really great, powerful anti-inflammatory properties. So, what does it contribute to? It is for the normal state of our intestine, for the normal condition of bones and joints, normal heart activity and blood cholesterol levels, and normal function of the reproductive system, and also, of course, our mental health.
And we have Harmonella colostrum here, another super powerful supplement here, which also contributes to immunization, active immunization of the body mainly. The main ingredient here, as the name suggests, is colostrum, which is the first milk actually that is produced by mammals. And it's really rich in all vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, and immunostimulants. Okay, so it's a massive thing for people with immunity problem, with vitamin and mineral deficiencies. It also contains microbially activated turmeric, selenium, vitamin K, and vitamin D. So it supports the normal function not only of the immune system, but also contributes to maintaining normal bone and muscle density. So it regenerates cells. It can help regenerate new cells. So it's absolutely fantastic for children because their immune system is building, their bones and muscles are growing and all these kind of things. But it can be also fantastic for individuals with osteoporosis or osteoarthritis when they are actually starting to lose the vitamin D and vitamin K and calcium out of the bones. Interesting thing here is that a lot of people say, well, I supplement on vitamin D, so my immune system is fine. But actually, vitamin D, in order to be absorbed, it needs vitamin K alongside with it. So if you supplement vitamin D but not vitamin K, then the chances are that your vitamin D is doing nothing. So somebody was really thinking about the composition of each one of these syrups to make sure that it actually works as a whole. So another fantastic product that we have here for active immunization, for regeneration of cells, and for healthy functioning of the bones and the muscles.
Yes, Harmonella CBD, our black pearl, contributes to a normal mental activity and the proper function of the nervous system. It supports the proper function of the immune systems thanks to a unique combination of CBD, omega-3, and microbially activated ginger. It contains also vitamin B6 and soluble fiber from corn. Soluble fiber from corn is really good for our friendly bacteria, which is a really good food for them. The importance of omega-3 fatty acids is invaluable to us because they cannot be produced by our body. Well, it can be produced, but only in limited amounts. So we must get them from food. And also vitamin B6 is also very important because it helps in the formation of red blood cells and also the normal functioning of the nervous system and immune system, and also provides our organism with the energy. So this product helps with our immune system, with our nervous system, and with the proper function of the body. And
Next, we have Harmonella Slim. The power of this product is really in the unique selection of all the active ingredients. We have glucomannan here, Mexican prickly pear, prebiotic fiber, L-carnitine, green tea, ginseng, hop, monocolin K, coenzyme Q10, and chromium. So all of these actually have been found to contribute to acceleration of metabolism and support weight loss. So the unique combination of all these ingredients means that it can truly help us combat the obesity pandemic, which is essentially a worldwide issue, actually. And the estimated statistics are that around 70% of population worldwide actually suffers with overweight or obesity, which has a number of other health issues related to it. So we've got something brilliant here that can actually help accelerate metabolism, even reduce or suppress hunger or cravings for unhealthy foods. But one thing to mention here, which is important, is that it's not some sort of a magic, okay? So it doesn't work in a way that you sit on the couch, eat burgers, and then sip in Harmanol Slim, and it's just going to miraculously slim you down, okay? It accelerates metabolism, which means that it has to be paired with some sort of physical activity, okay? So it's not a magic on its own, but it can greatly enhance our weight loss efforts, if you wish. So that's how I would summarize this.
Hormonal green, it is our last liquid syrup based on prebiotic and prebiotic soluble fiber and insoluble fiber, and also a complex of microbially activated plant molecules. The basis of this product is concentrated on soluble fiber from corn and fiber based on fructose oligosaccharides in combination with insoluble apple and citrus fibers. This combination has a strong prebiotic effect. It supports our friendly intestinal bacteria and also intestinal peristalsis. Thanks to the vitamin and mineral content, this syrup contributes to the general stimulation of the body. It is a really very powerful alkalizer and antioxidant. Also, the main ingredient is a blend of microbially activated fruit and vegetable juices made from 35 types of fruit and vegetables with a high content of polyphenols and flavonoids. And also, it has green barley, spirulina, and chlorella. So, this product, as I have mentioned, is a very strong antioxidant. It gives a powerful purification of the body. Also calms digestion and alkalizes the body and supports proper intestinal peristalsis. So these were our syrups, and we have the last.
Fabulous. So the last supplement that I would like to introduce you to is Harmanol Liver Plus. It is a supplement, again, as the name itself suggests, that supports the healthy function of the liver. It supports all the liver function, which is mainly detoxification, as you will know. Liver is the largest gland in our body, so which is involved in cleansing and getting rid of all the toxins. If it doesn't function properly, it leads to all sorts of issues, diseases, chronic problems. And of course, our liver has the ability to regenerate itself to a certain extent, but only to a certain extent. If there is too many toxins, then we have got things like fatty liver disease and alcoholic liver disease and all these kind of things. Okay, so what we have in here is again a unique selection of ingredients that supports the normal function of the liver, but also we have selected probiotic strains. So this is combined with probiotics, okay, which is the magic here. Selected probiotic strains that have been found to support the function of the liver specifically, because like I said, there is a communication not just between the gut and the brain, but the gut and the liver, the gut and the kidneys, the gut and the lungs. So through this communication, we are able to support the function of the liver as well. It is a strong and effective antioxidant. It also supports the normal activity of the nervous system. So that's another fantastic thing that we have here with Harmanol Liver Plus.
And now I'd like to ask you, how do you think if we have enough the right diet, or we can help our body? I think that nowadays it is not easy to have or to lead a healthy and varied lifestyle. Unfortunately, it is impossible to provide the body with all useful substances, with all vitamins and minerals, and also with the proper amount of fiber, as we have mentioned already. And additionally, we know that modern foods from the supermarket unfortunately contain a lot of pesticides and various toxic substances that are not very good for our body and can damage our gut and can bring to dysbiosis and different inflammations. So that is why, in my opinion, we can help in our daily life, and we can help our body with these products, and not only to our friendly bacteria, but also to give nourishment for our cells, for all our cells in the body. So it is my opinion. That's why I choose these products.
And that leads us to conclusion, guys. So we would like to really thank you wholeheartedly for your attention, for sticking through to us at the end, 1 hour, 20 minutes. Well done. I know it was a lot of information to absorb. So I think we'll leave it there. It's Friday evening, so I'm sure you've got other things to attend to at the moment. But we're really grateful that you could join us today. And of course, we'll be grateful for your feedback. So please do contact the person who invited you to this presentation. Have a follow-up conversation with them. They will feed it back to us, and that will be a great for us for future to improve. Okay, so I do not have anything else to add. So thank you one more time, and well, look after your gut. That's my final message.
Thank you. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.